Today at the museum, on the finishing straight,
Can't believe we're going to bypass that.
a hot debate over who's best at the Members Classic Car Show.
You really want it on the list?
Yes.
I knew this was going to happen.
At the ERA Campbell shed,
I think I'll base it on this. I think that's a good plan.
a bespoke repair to stop a 91-year-old bike from seizing up.
That's gone ever so quiet.
It just suddenly stopped.
Oh dear.
And a legend of Brooklands aviation history
Very seat of the pants experience flying this aeroplane originally.
hauls in the crowds.
Keep this piece of screw cord. Keep the string. There's two bits.
It's unique. You haven't flown it before. There's quite a lot of pressure. It can be quite nerve-wracking.
Good morning, welcome to Brooklands. Morning, how are you?
When it comes to motorbikes, Brooklands has always been a centre of innovation and invention, where new models have been built, tested and raced.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
And that's a tradition kept up by the skilled enthusiasts that work here today,
And I shot right forward.
who not only look after the museum's historic bikes,
Morning, Mark.
Oh, hi, Gareth.
but often create their own incredible machines.
This is Marge, 1931 BSA.
It's called Marge. So
Yeah,
where did that come from?
There was a great racer in the late 20s and 30s called Marjorie Cottle, and she rode BSA B31 just like this, and she rode at Brooklands.
Like semi-retired engineer Gareth Pemberton, Marjorie Cottle loved to build bikes from scratch. She was one of the nation's most famous female motorcycle riders in the 20s and 30s, and regularly rode at Brooklands. Gareth and Marge share a love of BSA bikes. Birmingham's Small Arms started as a gun maker, but they swapped bullets for bikes and soon became the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world.
So I've called it Marge, and it's the name stuck. So
That's not a bad name, is it?
Marge is what's known as a bitzer, a bike made from bits of this and bits of that.
What state was it when you first got it?
well, just the engine and the front part of the frame, really. So I've
Wow.
rebuilt the engine. Well, the gearbox, I managed to find an original, but the clutch is off an old Triumph. And I put that together with some parts from an Auto Jumble. The carburettor is from an old Royal Enfield. The bars, they're actually from my Norton Commando that I've had for 43 years.
Yeah.
So,
We don't waste any bits, do you?
No.
Having created this amazing bitzer bike, Gareth wants her up, running and being used regularly at Brooklands events and demo days.
What's the plan today then, Gareth?
Do a few laps of the start-finish straight here and just see how it goes.
Before he sets off, Gareth gives the exposed valves on Marge a drop of oil.
So there's no lubrication system to the top end, so that makes them a bit vulnerable.
And retired software engineer Mark Fielder kicks the BSA into life by using a roller starter.
Well, that looks to be going well. Because sometimes when you run a bike for the first time, you don't know how it's going to behave.
Yeah, famous last words, Mark.
That's gone ever so quiet. That sounded a bit ominous, Gareth.
I
What's
don't know what's
wrong?
happened. It just cut for a bit and then just suddenly stopped. So
Oh dear.
no, that exhaust valve stuck. I can see.
Ah.
Many bikes from this era have exposed valves, and it can be hard to keep them well lubricated. Without enough oil to coat them, the valves seize up and interfere with the smooth running of the bike. Gareth's pre-lap lubrication hasn't done the trick.
It's a bit of a problem. So I'll just have to strip it down and see what I can do about it. But I'll have a look at some of the other bikes in the ERA Campbell shed.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea to see
You
what
know.
they do for oiling.
I certainly want it to be a bit more reliable than that.
Yeah. It's better these things happen without an audience, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Too true.
The duo head to the museum's vintage bike collection, housed in the ERA Campbell shed. Gareth's got the BSA bike this far by expertly plundering parts from far and wide, so he's totally up for pilfering ideas from fellow engineers who found genius workarounds.
I think the AJS might be a better bet, so let's have a look at this.
What year is yours, Gareth?
Well, the engine's 1930, this is 1928. It's got exposed valves, so it's pretty close to what I need.
Yeah, you can see There's been a lot of work done on this to give it proper valve lubrication.
Yeah. There's a lube system coming in here on the end of the rocker shafts. So I think this is probably the way to go on mine.
I think that's a good plan.
Right, off to the workshop.
Yep.
Gareth spent years getting Marge up to the standard that Brooklands expect from their track stars. But today's test means Marge may not make it into the museum squad. Her future now depends on his ability to pull off this most delicate and precise of fixes.
Motorcycles of this age weren't built to very fine tolerances, but I've got to work probably to a few thousandths of an inch.
What happened to those fuel cans, John?
Brooklands is home to an amazing array of museum-quality cars. But once a year, the Members Motors take centre stage at the Classic Car Show. It's an event where loyal Brooklands supporters get to show off the vehicles they own. For one day only, their cars become Brooklands stars. From rollers to racers, from the classics to the contemporary, and the downright quirky. Anything with wheels and an engine gets a VIP pass and a chance to enter the Best in Show competition. With thousands of tickets sold and 350 vehicles expected.
Oh, lovely.
Brooklands volunteers, Chris Bound
Put that lot in there, I think.
and Chris Bourgeois
It's an Irving flying jacket, best brand there is.
know that today's retro jumble, a key part of Classic Car Show Day, could be a nice little earner for the museum.
We've got skis, get out quickly if we could. You know, don't try driving with them on, but bumper here, we've yet to work out what it's come off.
The volunteers have been collecting items donated by members specifically for this fundraiser for the past year.
Right, so let's hope this sells. Nice old radio.
Today, Chris, a retired chartered surveyor, will be running one of the stalls.
We seem to have got loads of these.
He's having a bit of a job working out what some of the donations are.
I'm sure someone somewhere wants that.
What is it?
I don't know. What do you reckon that is, Chris? Is that TR7, do you think? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it fits. Good job I don't do this for a living, isn't it? Any ideas?
But he's crystal clear on what things are worth.
Call it a fiver. Fiver? What are you asking for those? I was going to ask a fiver for them.
While the volunteers are raking in the cash, a few miles down the road, a little bit of America is being buffed up for the Best in Show competition.
The first time I drove it up this road, it frightened me to death.
Maybe it was the combination of the fuel-injected V8 engine and the lightweight fiberglass and plastic body that Rob Tring found so exhilarating. Or perhaps it was the fact that he was finally driving his dream motor, a 1959 Corvette.
I was first introduced to this particular shaped car, Corvette, when I was 18. I guess it's been in the back of my mind ever since, and never really dreamt that I'd own one. I bought this one from America. It was at a dealership in Ohio, and it's perfect.
Corvettes have been made by Chevrolet in the US since 1953. The first models didn't sell well, but with each successive redesign, the engines became more powerful, and with it, the popularity of this two-seater roadster soared. But for Rob, the car is more than just a beautiful set of wheels.
My partner passed away 2 weeks after the car arrived, and she was bedridden at the time, and therefore didn't physically see the car. One of the things that she said that will stick with me forever was, "Oh, I do hope I get to see your new car." And of course she didn't, but she knew it was here, and she knew I was going to enjoy it, so I think that gave her some comfort. It's given me a new lease of life and helped me through a very difficult period. It's a good friend, a good friend. It puts a smile on my face every time I drive it, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to share my love with other people.
Having polished the Corvette's unique acrylic lacquer to a sparkling shine, Rob is ready to roll.
I'm going to be taking it to the Retro Classic Car Show and Jumble at Brooklands, and I know that it's going to be of great interest to everybody there.
As Rob makes his way to Brooklands, in Walton-on-Thames in Surrey, Paul Thompson's equally sure that his classic car will be more admired.
So one thing's guaranteed when I get to Brooklands, and it's time for the reveal. My very rare classic will turn heads.
Brooklands may be the beating heart of British motor racing, but the site is also home to a breathtaking collection of aeroplanes.
That's 110.
From Concorde and Wellington bombers to Blérios and Hawker Hurricanes, the museum's always had a head for heights.
One of those classic 5-minute jobs that takes 5 hours.
And in its early 20th century heyday, Brooklands became home to a very special fleet of planes.
This is the 1910 Bristol box kite.
As war approached, the site became a training hub for the Royal Flying Corps. And the site's world-famous track was soon joined by a flying school and an aerodrome. And the plane that helped teach the nation to fly was the Bristol box kite.
Completely unconventional to the modern eye, as you can see. They've put a tail at both ends. They've put 3 rudders on, 4 wheels, but it's proved itself over the last 110 years as an aeroplane that works.
The box kite may no longer be flying above Brooklands, but at the Shuttleworth Collection in Bedfordshire, vintage aircraft engineer Rory Cook is responsible for maintaining one of the oldest box kite replicas in the world.
This particular one is made in the 1960s for the film Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines. With the exception of it having a modern Continental engine in it, it is pretty authentic, and flying it is as close as you'll ever get to flying a genuine original 1910 Bristol box kite.
Rory's job is to prep this plane for a rare weather-dependent flight at an air show at Shuttleworth, and the checks he's carrying out today mirror those done by Brooklands pilots last century.
If you get the levers set up in the wrong place, you could find yourself with an engine failure of some sort. So first things first, I've got to get in the thing, which is, it's not the most ergonomic of aeroplanes ever built.
Careful on those wires, Rory.
I'm going to check the fuel using my very technological dipstick here. But I've always had a fascination for engines. My parents bought me a vintage tractor that was a project when I was 8 years old, and my dad and I worked through that. That's got 5 gallons in it, so that will need some more before it flies. The fuel tank here is directly above the engine, so there's no mechanical fuel pump, purely works on gravity. The rawness of the engineering, the fact that you can see everything, you can see the valves working on, all that kind of stuff, and it's a visual thing as well, and that really appealed to me. I'm going to check the oil, and that is excellent. It's a privilege to be able to work on an aeroplane like box kite. It's great.
It's up to Rory to test that the delicate wire-driven flight controls are still up to scratch.
So move the stick backwards and forwards, making sure the elevators work. Although on this aeroplane you've got one in front of you and one behind you. So they're all right.
To change direction and alter the flight path, the box kite has ailerons, which are flaps on the edge of the wings.
Move the stick side to side, which doesn't actually move the ailerons. On this aeroplane, it relies on the aeroplane moving forwards to lift the ailerons up. These cables here then go tight, and then you can use your ailerons.
These are used with the rudders to turn an aircraft in the air.
And then I'll check the rudders at the back, and they're all fine as well.
This replica has been fitted with some modern equipment to reduce risk for 21st century pilots.
So you've got an airspeed indicator here, tells you how fast you're going. You've got an engine tachometer which tells you the revs of the engine.
But there is one key feature that's true to the original.
What we do have is a piece of string hanging in front of me which tells me whether I'm flying in a straight line or flying sideways. If it's flying sideways at all, it won't climb. So you're relying on that piece of string flying straight towards you in an aeroplane that is not stable. Very, very seat of the pants experience flying this aeroplane originally.
Satisfied that the wires and strings are as safe as they should be,
checked everything over, it's all ready to fly.
One more vital check needs to happen before this beauty can take to the skies for a very rare flight, just as it used to at Brooklands.
By the very nature of what it is an unstable aeroplane.
Rory knows that the weather forecast has to be perfect for the box kite to fly this afternoon. Pilot safety is paramount, and this rare plane is precious.
The wind has to be pretty much flat calm to fly it. Basically, if we say the leaves are moving on the trees, it's too windy.
With the outlook uncertain, everything now rests on the great British weather.
Fingers crossed that everything falls into place and we can see it fly.
And it's time for the reveal.
In Walton-on-Thames, Paul Thompson is preparing his pride and joy to enter it into the Brooklands Classic Car Show.
When I take it to any show, it's a very rare sight indeed.
And he's quietly confident he has a good chance at the coveted Best in Show award.
It makes people smile, it makes people point. So one thing's guaranteed, when I get to Brooklands in my very rare classic, it will turn heads. So we have a 1988 Mark II Metro in all its metallic glory.
It's a little over 40 years since the Mini Metro first took to our streets. Launched with the slogan, "A British car to beat the world," the Metro was born to fend off an increasingly strong European threat to the British motor industry. Initially made by British Leyland, it was spacious, economical and nippy, and quickly won a place in the nation's heart as Britain's best-selling minicar. And whilst there are fewer of them on the road today, Metro Mania is still going strong on Instagram, Twitter and in Paul's garage.
So I've owned 11 Metros over the years, believe it or not. My little hall of fame of just some of the Metros I've owned. There are other cars that are more popular, but someone has to keep these cars going, otherwise they're going to disappear.
Paul's going for gold today and hoping to win over the judges with his eye for detail.
This would have been its first tax disc. It just gives people a focus. As soon as they see the car in the street, they go, wow. So we've got the AA Relay badge, which you don't get on cars these days. We've got the original dealership badge. You've got to be into it to start putting these things on, you know. You feel like a custodian of something that's this really is a rare vehicle these days. Hello, Mike. How you doing?
Paul's mate Mike, a retired mechanic, has arrived to help with the finishing touches.
63 horsepower, Mike. What do you reckon to that?
Oh, it's quite a quick one then.
And after a quick scrub,
We'll give all those posh cars a run for their money, Mike.
this Cinderella of a car is ready to go to the Brooklands Ball.
Some of my friends say, why don't you get something faster, something with a bigger engine? I said, when you look this good, why do you need to rush around? I think that's job done. Oh, have you seen my keyring? Look at that. Yeah, you throw that on the bar and everyone goes, oh, he's got a Metro.
They might throw it back at you.
Yeah, they probably throw it back at me, yeah. Get out my pub.
At Brooklands, Paul's competitors have started to arrive. He may be surrounded by the creme de la creme of motors, but he's still backing his mighty Metro.
It's great to be at a proper show at Brooklands for the first time this year. I've always parked against various cars and stuff, but today this is something different. I don't think we've ever parked against a military vehicle like this before.
Paul's battling against an armoured vehicle, but 2 cars away, there's another fearsome competitor who's up for the fight.
I've had quite a lot of work done to it, and now it's virtually perfect. I mean, I love it, obviously, but it's great if other people love it as well.
We've got Corvettes, we've got everything in between, we've got Jaguars, and the mighty Metro stuck right in the middle. So we can do no more, and it's going to be over to the kind hearts and the eyes of the judges now.
This is a call for the judges.
The near impossible task of whittling a winner from the hundreds of entries falls to Julian Grimwade, Vice Chair of Brooklands Members.
I just hope the authority doesn't go to my head.
I think it already has.
A man with a clipboard. Brooklands is really important to me. I think it's an important place. The Classic Car Show, it's a day that the members really look forward to. It doesn't matter whether the cars are old, classic, new, or whatever. It's the passion and the interest of the people that own them, and that's what we're here to celebrate.
Have fun.
Joining him in the hot seat is TV's Queen of Cars celebrity judge, Sara Crabtree.
This is a Plymouth Belvedere.
Absolutely.
Today we're looking for the best in show, but the criteria for that is varied. It's all around France in this.
Fantastic.
We're not necessarily looking for the shiniest or the most expensive.
Oh gosh, no, shiny doesn't even come into it, does it? Shiny does not come into it.
It's got to make the owner happy and keep us happy.
Yeah, it's got to make us smile.
Yeah, make us smile.
Yeah.
She's actually 53 today.
53, happy birthday.
Murky Moo, we call her.
Murky Moo.
And it isn't long before Sara clocks a car that has her beaming.
It's cool as.
Her head has been well and truly turned by Paul's Mini Metro.
She is lovely.
Did you hear that? She is lovely. That's got to be positive, hasn't it?
At Shuttleworth in Bedfordshire, a precious Bristol box kite replica, the like of which flew at Brooklands over 100 years ago, is about to take to the skies.
Fingers crossed that the wind is calm enough, the weather's in the right direction.
It's an incredibly rare sight. Word has spread and the plane spotters are out in force to see if she'll get airborne.
So give me the tips for the box car, thank you.
The plane has gone through all her engineering checks and, if the weather holds, will be flown by ex-Royal Air Force qualified instructor John Hurrell.
Yeah, you don't want to fly on a windy day. Today would be absolutely amazing.
Having never flown a box kite before, John asks fellow vintage plane pilot Stu Goldspink for some pointers.
40's fast. Is it? So you'll feel it. It talks to you. You keep this piece of string cord down.
Keep the string. There's two other two bits.
Yeah, and just keep the ball in the middle. Just
that's very difficult. Keep the ball in the middle. See, that takes talent.
The weather is holding. John's been given the go-ahead for takeoff, and he's feeling the pressure.
It is nerve-wracking because it's a collection airplane. It's unique. You haven't flown it before. You're sitting out in the open air there, feeling pretty vulnerable, and the fact you've got to land this thing as well. You've kind of got to put that out of your head. Just go back to basic principles and fly as the aircraft is meant to.
It's a poignant moment for Rory.
Even now, after so many years of working on it, it still almost takes your breath away to watch that box kite serenely float by 30 miles an hour. It is quite a magical thing to be able to see. It's sometimes difficult and sometimes challenging to keep an aeroplane as different as the box kite flying. But when you see it in the air and people are appreciating it, you know that your efforts are worthwhile.
That's gone ever so quiet.
Brooklands volunteer Gareth has lovingly restored a 1931 BSA motorbike nicknamed Marge.
Just cut for a bit and then just suddenly stopped, so...
Oh dear.
But on a test run, she's ground to a halt.
I certainly want it to be a bit more reliable than that.
Yeah.
Marge has been built in the Brooklands time-honoured way, from scratch. Gareth started with a beautiful vintage BSA engine and worked up from there. The end result should be a unique, high-performance track star, but she's not running well.
I'll take the old parts off the bike. I'll keep them safely in case I ever need them again.
To guarantee her future, Gareth has to get oil flowing to the BSA's exposed spring valves and stop them seizing up. His earlier fix of lubricating them externally won't work long term. Now, back in his workshop, he's devising a more integrated approach.
The main part of what I want to do is get a lube system to go into the end of the rocker shafts.
The spring valves work in tandem with a rocker shaft that sits inside the engine. The rocker shaft opens and the spring valves shut the gateways to the engine's internal combustion chamber. When Marge's spring valves seize up, they fail to seal off the combustion chamber, which means the bike can't generate the power it needs to run. Luckily, Gareth has a cunning plan.
I'll take oil from the oil tank, which is part of the petrol tank here, which is very useful. So I can put oil in there, it'll feed through the pipe, and the oil will feed into the end of the rockers, and that will give me some lubrication to my valve system.
To deliver the oil, Gareth has engineered a key component.
I've made two banjos, as they're called. So the banjo will fit on across the tops of the rocker shaft, and I'll have a bolt that will go through here and it'll feed oil into the end of the rocker shaft.
Gareth's high-tech solution means he even has to fashion bespoke bolts.
So I'm going to start with an ordinary steel bolt, cut the end off, turn it down a bit, and then bore a hole down the middle and 2 ports for the oil to come through from the banjo. I'm passionate about motorcycles. It's in my blood. It's what I love doing. As I grew up, I worked with my father when he was fixing his car or his bike. This is called a test dial indicator to make sure that all of the diameters on the bolt are concentric. The first motorcycle race I went to was when I was 7 years old. My brother and I and my dad went down to Brands Hatch. Back in those days it was quite different, but I can remember it quite distinctly, and you know, from then on I was regularly going to motorcycle races. And I'll just measure how far the rocker shaft sticks out, then I'll make the groove just a little way past that, and then the oil will flow through the groove, through the holes and into the end of the rocker shaft. Well, that's the plan anyway. So as I grew up, I always had to understand how an engine worked, what made an engine more powerful and more reliable. Motorcycles of this age weren't built to very fine tolerances, but I've got to work probably to a few thousandths of an inch to make sure this works. So I'm never happier than if I'm either riding a bike or in my workshop. You know, working here at Brooklands is a dream, to be honest. That's looking good. Just had to clean it all out. We're making progress now. I managed to pick up from my brother a nice old petrol tap, and it's got a reserve lever on it, which is quite unusual, and that'll allow me to close it or open it to regulate the flow of oil through to the rocker shaft. It's just a nice feature. It should work really well.
With everything made, it's time to install the new lube system.
So I'm just going to fit up the two banjos, make sure they fit on nicely. Oh, that fits perfectly.
Gareth needs to go very carefully.
I don't want to do the bolts too tight. I mean, the worst thing you can do is ruin a thread. I'll put the new tap in.
Then it's on to the home straight.
And then just put the oil pipe on. So that's the hose fitted. I'll just put some oil in the tank.
Marge is a magical melting pot of vintage parts and modern engineering. But to be a proper Brooklands star, she needs to be a reliable performer.
I think that's all finished. My special lube system for the top end of the engine. So that's all fitted now. Just have to take it down the track and try it now.
Her future at the museum all comes down to how well she performs on the track. Brooklands is celebrating everything that's brilliant about its members and their motors at the annual Classic Car Day and fundraising Retro Jumble.
Well done, sir. Good. Thank you.
Metro mad Paul Thompson has entered his 1988 Mark II motor for the Best in Show competition.
Now don't start cleaning it because you'll only make it bloody rain.
But he's also keen to hit the event's retro-themed auto jumble to see if he can bag any Metro memorabilia.
Entering somewhere like this on your own without your wife to put the reins on you is quite dangerous because the wallet could get a hit today. There's lots to buy and lots to see here. No. Rover. Have you got any Austin Rover books or any British Leyland books at all? So, OK, right, we'll keep looking, thank you. Anything with Metro on it at all?
Unfortunately not.
No, OK. Brochures, brochures, sorry. OK, let's feast our eyes on it. Christmas has come early here. Oh, hello. There's quite a saucy one, a Rio, an exotic model. Yeah, we'll keep looking.
Paul's leaving no stall unturned.
You wouldn't have a Metro amongst this lot anywhere, would you? I think. Oh, hang on. What have we got here? Oh, we've got Metro. Whoa. Inglorious purple. We found a pair. Just at the last moment, we found another one, a data post track car. We're going through. Well done. Okay, so we've had a result today.
You see yourself in that?
Not really.
Back at the competition.
That's cute, isn't it?
You're looking at a Ford Escort.
Two-door.
Why?
Judges Julian Grimwade and Sara Crabtree are struggling to agree a shortlist for the top prize of the day.
Beautiful. Gorgeous. Look at...
I took my test in one of these.
We've got different tastes, haven't we,
We
completely?
do, yeah. The gold Beamer.
No.
Our members, they're all enthusiasts. Whatever their car is, they are totally besotted with their car, which is why it's such a lot of fun to, in a friendly way, judge some winners.
Yeah, you're a bit more top draw, aren't you, Julian?
Well, no, I'm a bit...
As you can tell.
As you can tell, I'm a bit
As you
older.
can tell.
Should we just move gently along?
No! I can't believe we're going to bypass that.
I've always been interested in cars of any kind, but latterly I've been more interested in the older cars. So I have a Bentley, I have a Fraser Nash, I have a Amilcar Lagonda Special. You really want it on the list?
Yes!
Oh. Sara has a known preference for British Leyland cars, which is something I find unusual. So whether we can agree on something, who knows? God. I knew this was going to happen, but it's almost anything could win it. It just what takes the judge's eye on the day. It's somebody who just catches your eye for being a true enthusiast, really loving what they've got and really looking after it.
You see there's a Bentley on the end there?
Yeah, and it's a lovely thing. What do you think?
I'd still rather have
Oh,
that.
you're joking. But you could sell that and buy 53 of these.
153. I could, yeah.
As the judges make their way along the line, tensions are rising.
We're getting over, the sunglasses are going on, this is getting serious now. So the judges aren't far away now for their vote on the car of the day. At least we're in it.
Paul hopes he's done enough.
It's cool as. How many people are going to smile as you drive down the street?
Yes, that's true.
They haven't walked straight past the metro, so it's been given some consideration, and they're actually having a proper look at it. This is getting the old heart rate up here a little bit, I must say.
It's an immaculate metro.
Glorious, pulsar silver.
They're giving it a real proper look at. This is very exciting, I must say.
Look at the interior, it's perfect. Oh, look at that cloth. I've just got to touch it, sorry. I do. Ooh. Oh, she is lovely.
Did you hear that? She is lovely. I heard she said she is lovely.
I knew you'd like this.
Yeah.
This is the one I said I was going to point out.
That's got to be positive, hasn't it? That's got to be positive.
OK.
Yeah.
So that's a maybe.
Next up, it's the little red Corvette. But owner Rob's off shopping and blissfully unaware that his pride and joy is in the spotlight.
The only thing I find about a Corvette is you can only drive one if you've got really skinny legs. Get in it and see if you can actually turn the steering wheel.
Where's the owner? I can't just climb in his car.
Of course you can. Off you go.
Excuse me, I've got to check how skinny my legs are. I'm going to get hit here.
No, you're not.
There's plenty of room.
I don't know if there is. Oh, you have got skinny legs. Put your legs together.
I don't drive like that.
It's only just happening.
I drive like
it?
that. No, I see what you mean there.
It is though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I love the Corvette. I think it's very pretty. This is my kind of bag though. You know, I do like cars like this.
They're all right. It's all right. It's a nice car.
It's all right. It's been nicely done.
It's a nice car.
Yeah, it's a very nice car. Very nice car.
Right.
The competitors can do no more except hope that they've done enough to make a good impression.
So the culmination of the day now, the big decision time for the judges to show and reveal what's won the categories.
The museum's coffers are being swelled by the profits from their auto-themed second-hand sale.
Looking for this for quite a while.
All right, okay.
Find it finally.
And Rob and Paul are waiting to hear if their motors
Got a lot of attention, as always.
have won the coveted Best in Show Cup
Look, and said something along the lines of, "Isn't she lovely?"
at the museum's classic car event.
Number one?
Yeah, gotta be.
It's the moment everyone, especially Paul, has been waiting for.
We have some winners. Crews are ready. You guys are ready.
So the culmination of the day now, the big decision time for the judges to show and reveal what's won the categories.
Mine was part along with everybody else's. Lots of questions about where did it come from, how old is it, and so on.
Let's bring us on to the overall car of the show. Now this was chosen by Sara and Julian for first place overall car of the show goes to the lovely Bentley just to my left. The owner can step forward, please.
John Clark in his Bentley has won Best in Show.
I'm pretty staggered to have received an award this afternoon, but very pleased. I've tried to look after the car and it seems to have worked. It's the first time that most of us have been back to Brooklands in a very long time, and so it really does sort of make the day for me that I've achieved this as well.
John is a popular choice.
And we all agreed it was just elegant but understated. It wasn't too ostentatious. It was in beautiful condition, which helped. And he was obviously very proud of it. And it was just a nice car. But we all agreed that we'd like to go home in that.
I think very justified. Absolutely stunning, Phil. Stunning. I had a good look round it earlier on and it was spotless. You could eat your dinner, as they say, off the engine. It was absolutely stunning. He's obviously put a lot of time and money into that car and kept it original. Yeah, I bow to that, absolutely.
Rob's efforts have been recognised.
We didn't win anything, but we were listed on the shortlist. But it's not really about winning prizes, it's simply just coming to shows like this, particularly Brooklands with its heritage, and enjoying the day with everybody else. And, you know, that's what we've done.
The mighty Metro didn't land the top spot, but she and Paul are what Brooklands and this event are all about.
Yeah, we've all won today. The fact that the show's on with everything that's been going on, and we were here right in front of the clubhouse. We took part and we've had a great day. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Today has been, in a word, magnificent. I've loved it. Just seeing all the cars come in, it's been so well attended. Everyone's had a smile on their face. It's been great after, everything that's happened. It's fantastic.
Last bit going in.
Over at the Retro Jumble, Chris is happy with the day's takings.
So that's been a good day's work. It's been pretty good. We had two sort of key items which we were hoping to sell. Neither of them were sold, although there was quite a bit of interest in them. But we've probably raised about 500 or 600 quid, which is all going to go to buying bits and pieces for the museum cars. Hopefully we'll sell it next time.
This is my 1931 BSA B31-2, 250 overhead valve.
It's the moment of truth for Brooklands volunteer Gareth. He's fabricated a whole new lubrication system for a 91-year-old motorbike nicknamed Marge.
So what's the chances of this thing starting?
Well, I think it's pretty good, to be honest.
I've only got a little bit of that puff,
Today he's enlisted the support of retired engineer and fellow volunteer Fred Wade to see if the oil fix works. If Marge can run without cutting out, Gareth will have achieved his goal. His one-of-a-kind bike will become a star performer at Brooklands events.
That's what stopped it last time, was the valve seized, so I'm hoping for a bit more this time. Okay. What you're always looking for with a car or motorcycle is to keep it running, keep it on the road, but also to try and get the best performance out of it that you can. Okay, back on compression.
Yep.
I'll flood in the carb and I'll turn my new oil valve on. So get lubrication to the top end. Going round a racetrack, or certainly the banking here, is very tricky, because a bike at speed, can become unstable. Okay, here we go. Good luck. What you're trying to do is just build a bike to go fast. So the essence of that is, to get more power out of the engine. I knew what I wanted to end up with was a Brooklands Special.
After a few laps, it looks like Gareth's going to get his wish. Marge is going great guns.
Oh, it's great. It's a classic. It's a lovely bike.
That's brilliant. That's going really well. And,
That's the old modification here.
that's all good. It's only passing oil through to the valves.
There's no leaks.
No leaks, and count that as a success.
Sounds good as well.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Thanks to Gareth's tenacity, Marge may be racing around the Brooklands track when she hits her centenary. It's the skills and engineering prowess of people like him that help keep Brooklands history not just alive, but well and truly kicking.